we have few attendees, participants with questions here lined up. So I would like to call upon Clinton. I think I'll unmute. Yeah, he has raised his hand. I have enabled you, Clinton. You can unmute and go ahead with your question.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, sir. Sir, I just wanted to know one thing here. Now, you told us that you come from a business-minded family. Now that I don't come from a business-minded family, what do I do for that initial mindset, or let's say initial investment help that I would require to actually start my business? Because neither will I have that mental support, nor will I have that monetary support, which would actually be required to start a business, sir.
Fantastic question, Clinton. So, gone are the days when you need to come from a business family to do this, right? Today, entrepreneurs are successful because of the strength of their business ideas.
Yes, sir.
You take companies ranging from Flipkart to Paytm. None of those founders actually came from any means or any business family or that kind of a thought process.
Yes,
so if you have a rock solid business plan, you find mentors, you network with people, you bounce off those ideas on the business that you have, refine it. Money is not a concern today, right?
Yes, sir.
You can get funding. There are hundreds of different avenues to get funding. I'm also part of another angel network like that. There are many angel networks. Then there are high net worth individuals. So work on the strength of your business plan. Find those mentors. It's very important for us to find mentors. Even I have a mentor where I kind of bounce off my ideas with that person and I get feedback. None of us are born with skill. Just because you come from a business family doesn't mean that you know exactly how business is run.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I mean, let me be very forthright. I don't know a lot of stuff. I'm figuring out as I go, and there's no perfect recipe for this. So
Yes,
it's about asking people, right? Am I doing this right? What do you think this plan is? Will it work? And stay open to that idea. Okay, and stay open, stay humble, listen to people, evaluate what they're saying. See, one of the worst things that can happen to entrepreneurs is what I call as an entrepreneur's curse. They believe so much in their business ideas that the rest of the world is able to see the faults in the plan, but they don't want to believe it. That's exactly what happened with my second venture. Everybody kept telling me, hey, DVD rental, are you serious? So who's going to pay you 50 rupees for a DVD to watch a movie? I pay 50 rupees, I get 4 movies in one DVD by the footpath vendor. And yes. I never paid attention to that. I said, no, it's about quality. It's definitely going to work. I didn't listen to people. But I mean, no regrets. I went ahead and I burnt a whole bit of, some amount of my personal wealth and, learned a lot. So, but I wish I had heard people, I had found mentors. So reach out, work on your plan, reach out and find mentors, share your plan, seek their guidance, keep at it. You don't need to come from means. You don't need to come from business families to get there.
Yes, thank you, sir.
And just to add to that, I think today we have a fantastic ecosystem that is available. And like sir said, you need to have one promising business idea, that's it. And you will have the investor lined up for you. So you don't have to worry about that monetary backup kind of a thing. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Muzammil Rihan. Muzammil, I have unmuted. You can go ahead with your question.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone present here. So I have one question here. How did you market your product at the initial stage, the introductory stage of your brand, and what were the main channels used?
Okay, so well, what we did was you need to have a strong purpose for your company or your product or your service, right? So a company does products and services. So for both of these, you need to have a strong purpose. What is the purpose of this thing that you're doing? You have to first define that. In case of Nandu's, it was about, our purpose was to produce chicken meat that is free of all chemicals, right? In my own industry and space, I figured that there was no traceability for the chicken that was being marketed. There was no, I was not happy with the hygiene standards with which chicken was being sold. If any of you have gone to a live chicken shop, you know how filthy those
Yes, yes.
places are, right? So that was a status quo for me. I said, that is unacceptable. We got to do something about it. And finally, after years of telling myself that I'll do something, finally I did something, right? A lot of inertia was there in the initial years. I'm just like anybody else, procrastinating. But you find a purpose, you break the inertia cycle, build a value proposition for the product or the service that you are doing, communicate that very clearly to your end consumer. In our case, we said we are going to produce, we own the entire supply chain. Because of that, we are able to produce chicken that is free of all hormones, steroids, and antibiotics, which are like very harmful to humans. Therefore, the meat is safer for you to consume, and we stand by it. That was the message to the end consumer. And we said we're going to take this product through a multi-channel approach, what is usually called as an omni-channel process. We were focused both offline and online. And the
Yes.
rest is the journey that you're seeing now. I hope that answers your question, Muzammil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
The
Thank you,
next.
ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Muzammil. We have Rashmi here with the question. I have unmuted you, Rashmi. You can.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. I would like to ask, how concerned were you with the control when starting the venture? As we all know that there is always a need for control, sir.
Okay, Rashmi, when you say control, can you define what you mean exactly? I don't understand the word control.
Yes, sir. So, as you made up your team and all the challenges faced by you, so we need to control all situations that come along and the challenges. So, in that base.
Okay, so this is my personal experience. I don't know how it is for others, but being an entrepreneur, let me tell you, you're never in control, right? So that is one of the things that you have to absolutely come to accept. The company is in control of you, right? So you learn on a day-to-day basis. Okay, this is not, this is an area where I need to focus. Let me pay attention to it. That's another area where things are not correct. I need to look at that. So you learn as you go. You want to stay in control, but it's a moving target. Control is a moving target. And in the race to get control, you can't expect a revolution. A company is an evolution. Okay? I used to beat myself up for not being in control of so many things. Right? Then I had my mentor tell me, he said, Chief, you're not looking at a revolution, and that's never going to happen. It's an evolution. And that brought a lot of peace. So when you understand that it's a continuous process of getting control, the control is a process. It's a continuous journey. So you got to be comfortable with that and work towards slowly gaining control, keeping in mind that it is not a revolution but an evolution.
Yes, sir.
Right? Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir.
We have Chirag. I have allowed Chirag. You can unmute and ask a question, Chirag.
Good evening, sir. Sir, you have just explained how you operated post-COVID, sir. Like you said, what are the measures you were taken by your team, etc. I'm just curious to know that did the sales affect because of this pandemic, and how did you make the changes to overcome it, sir?
Okay. Actually, our sales have actually, doubled, right? Initially, uh, I mean, I've been saying for many years that people should be concerned about what they put into their bodies. They should ask for traceability, transparency, quality, hygiene commitments from producers. And, I think COVID has naturally within what should have happened for in several years, what would have happened in several years, it actually accelerated everything and made it happen in 3 months. Now people are very concerned about the food they eat. They want to know, a lot of people have stopped going to the live chicken shops. So in a sense, we kept doing what we were doing, which was producing great quality meat in a very hygienic manner and talking to the consumers in a very transparent manner, telling them that what we are bringing to you is traceable. We kept that messaging going. We just kept the same thing being reiterated to the consumer, and they heard us. And today we are like, you know, we are growing month on month more than 30% month on month. It's a phenomenal growth that we are seeing, and that's all it is. It is, you have to communicate your purpose.
Narendra, just to, I'm little curious to know more about what actually you mean when you say traceability, right?
Okay.
In
So,
your business, yeah.
right.
I'm interested. So yeah.
Right, brilliant. I think that's a very relevant question. So when we say traceability, if you went to a live chicken shop, you don't know where the chicken comes from.
Okay.
You only see a chicken in a cage and you select it. I'm sure many of our attendees here have never gone to a chicken shop because that was a thing their parents would do. Right?
Or they're vegetarian.
I myself have never been to a live chicken shop. Right? So if you went to a live chicken shop, you don't know where the chicken is coming from. You only know that there is a white bird sitting in a cage in a very filthy environment, and then he will take it and he will clean it and give it to you. That's where the visibility of the product that you are consuming. You only have so much visibility. So in our case, what happens is, if you went to a Nandu's outlet or order online, and if you're not happy with the meat that we serve you, we are able to trace the entire life cycle of the bird back. So we will be able to track down which batch that particular bird came from. How did the batch perform when we grow it? All of this is possible only because we own the entire supply chain, right? So we trace it back to a batch, a flock of birds that we have grown. How did they grow? Then we trace it back to the day it was born, because we are incubating these eggs and creating chicks out of them, right? Then since we are also breeding and producing the egg from which this chicken came. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry,
You're
there
audible.
seemed to be a glitch. So the entire supply chain of poultry starts with production of poultry feed, which we do in the house. So we know what we are feeding to the chickens. Then we are a breeding company, so we are producing the fertile eggs from which the chicks are produced. So we own the breeding farms, we own the hatcheries. So the egg is incubated for 21 days. We know exactly how the chick was incubated and what is the quality of the chick that's coming out. Then those chicks are placed in integration farms. We collaborate with about 250 farmers across South India. And I have close to about 100 farmers in and around Bangalore, whom we have trained to grow the bird to our specification. So we give them the chicks, we give them the feed, and we train and monitor the farmer. And under all of these activities, we have an ERP system. All of the data is captured in a tablet PC and pushed to the cloud. So we know exactly the meat that you're eating today, that bird, which flock it came from, when did that hatch, what did it consume. So that is what I refer to as traceability. right? So if you go to a live chicken shop and ask him, where did this chicken come from, which farm? He'll say, other one farm in the Bantu, I don't know, sir. So,
True.
right? So, and it is very important, right? We are so concerned today, what clothes we are wearing, which place am I going to visit tomorrow, or what car I own, but we don't really pay any attention to what we consume, which is so important, right? Uh, you are what you eat, and so many of us don't even pay attention to what we eat. We just consume it just because we are consuming it. I mean, we are hungry. So that's the cycle we want to break, and we say that we are transparent and we are traceable because of we know exactly how we are producing that meat that you're eating.
So nice. And so important also, sir, I think. You are tracing it back to the bird.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a chick takes 42 days to become a bird before it is actually consumed, right? In those 42 days, we know every single day how the flock has performed. Did it catch any disease? Did it grow well? How is it performing? Every single data point is captured in the ERP.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
that is traceability.
Yeah. Understood, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Chirag.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, the next participant is Suprita, who wants to ask a question. I have allowed you to talk, Suprita. You can unmute.
Hello, sir. Sir, I want to know, like, how do you differentiate yourself from your other competitors? Like, your effort to be different, was it accidental or deliberate?
Effort to be different, was it accidental or deliberate? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, see, what we did was we actually didn't look at our competition, right? We focused on what we had at hand and how we could articulate the benefits of the product that we were producing, and if it made sense to the end consumer, right? So we have a whole bunch of competition now, online meat sellers. They don't produce anything. They just buy from other people, and they are extremely good in marketing and packaging. They've done a fabulous job. But when you look at somebody else and try to build your business plan or define a competitive differentiator, you actually forget your purpose. You start measuring up, okay, he is doing that, so should I make my product be better than him in that area? No, we didn't do that. We said we are producing, we have the skills to produce the best quality chicken in the market, right? Now, how is it best? What is the need and the gap in the market? And with this best product, am I able to fill the need and the gap in the market? That's all we focused on. And we articulated that. I sat with the branding guys and said, hey, this is what I can do. And one of my mentors and the branding guy said, then we should communicate that. So we came up with a symbol which said, if you looked at the Nandu's website, you will see a symbol that says no hormones, no steroids, no antibiotics. Right? We were the first one to claim that. And none of my competition was talking about it. If I had looked at them and tried to build a differentiator, I would have missed that point. I said, I want to do this product, and I want to do this because this will address a certain confusion in the consumer mind. So a lot of the chicken consumers today think that a white broiler bird is farm bred, it is not good, they give it injection, they give it hormones to grow fast. That's a total myth. So we said we are going to break that myth by communicating. And that becomes a differentiator. Right? So, so stay focused on your purpose, your product or a service, and the differentiators will emerge. But of course, you can, as a competitive, if you want to do a competitor analysis, you can do that, and you see whether your purpose and your product and your articulation of the advantages are going to create a differentiator. But I don't think you should just look at them to come up with your differentiator.
Yeah.
Sometimes, by looking at the competitor, you yourself benchmark to a very marginal extent when you have a potential to benchmark at a much higher level.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Suprita. Our next participant is Abhay Pai. So I have unmuted you. You can start. Yeah, you can ask.
Good evening, sir. So my question is, how does the website affect your top line? Does it hold a major share in the business?
Okay, very exciting question. I always get asked that question. So how important is e-commerce to your business, right? So yeah, so um, again, we chose a deliberate path to being an omni-channel player, right? When I say omni-channel, we are both online and offline, and that was a very deliberate choice, right? So in the business segment or a product segment where I was going to be operating, it was very important to be omni-channel, right? So we looked at the consumer behavior and said, how does consumer buy chicken today, right? And chicken is such a universal commodity. How does one buy that? There are close to about 2,600 live chicken shops in Bangalore today. Okay. From somebody in the lowest strata of the society to somebody at the highest level, everybody is consuming chicken. Therefore, we said an offline presence is super important because the product is now across the sector, consumed across the society. By the way, 74% of India is non-vegetarian. So it's a myth that India is a vegetarian country, and that number is growing very rapidly, right? Okay, so that's a tidbit. So we said we recognize that online is growing, but all of the business is not going online. Please remember, again, it depends on what product or a service that you're providing. There are some products and services that are absolutely well suited for online businesses. There are some that are both online, offline. So ours is a product that is both online, offline. So my offline stores, we do about 50% of our sales, and online does about 50%. And that 50% of online is again broken down into marketplaces where we collaborate with Swiggy, Zomato, Dunzo. They will come, we are integrated with them at the hip. All of the order flow from their systems flow to us, and then their riders come and pick it up. I also have my own delivery fleet, which delivers, and that's roughly about 40% of our business. So 30% of our business. So in that sense, both are important, but how important is one over the other depends on the kind of product that you are trying to sell, right? In our case, we felt we should be both online, offline, and that has worked out absolutely fantastic for us. Does that answer your question, Abhay?
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Abhay. We have Mamta Acharya with a question. I have unmuted. You can unmute and ask, Mamta.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Sir, I would like to ask a simple question tapping on time management here. So we all think that for a startup, an entrepreneur will live all his life or all his time dedicating to his venture. So, so I'm curious to know, how did you organize the time between your venture and your personal life? So was it easy? How was it back then, sir?
I'm so happy to hear that question, Mamta. Actually, let me step back a little bit, right? When I started Nandu's, I figured, okay, we have this established business, so I gotta spend time there, and then I'm starting Nandu's. So let me hire somebody to do Nandu's. Okay. So that way, I'm able to manage my existing business as well as mentor the guy who's coming to run the Nandu's business, so-called CEO. I hired a CEO. 6 months, 8 months, and he was not able to do anything, right? Fat paycheck, great profile, but unfortunately, he was not able to deliver. So that was like a eureka moment for me. I said, there is no absentee landlordism. You can't have your foot in both the places. So I kind of stepped out of the core business. I handed over all of my responsibilities in that business to certain other managers in that business. And I said, I'm going to be 100% focused on building Nandus. So the minute that happened, within the next 5 months, we had built 9 outlets. Okay. So when it comes to time management, being an entrepreneur, there is no shortcuts. You have to be 100% committed to what you're doing. Okay. It doesn't matter whether you come from means or you have resources or you have people, until unless you, the entrepreneur who's got that vision to build out this company, is 100% committed to building that business, the business is not going to happen. Okay. Then, when you're an entrepreneur and when you're starting up this company, it is the most confusing time of your life, right? You don't know the difference between family time and work time. Your family has to be okay with that. You have to communicate your passion to your spouse and family, saying that this is how it's going to be. I have to achieve this, right? So, the line between family time and work time is going to get blurred. Sometimes there will be no family time, right? Because you will carry the work tensions back home. You're struggling to figure things out. You're so confused. You're not in control. So basically, it's a journey that you have to figure out as you go. But one thing is for sure, there's no absentee landlordism. You cannot have an idea and not give 100% of your time. So, and the rest is whatever it takes. If it takes you 18 hours, 20 hours a day, available in the nights, you have to kind of deal with that. But certainly there has to be some structure through which you'll be working. You have to structure your meetings to be short and crisp. You have to structure some time for yourself during the day where you catch up with the tasks at hand. And you can do that based on what your schedule is. You can set some sort of a schedule for yourself and follow that up religiously. Does that sound like what you're looking for, Mamta?
Hard
Yes, sir.
answer to soft question.
Yes, I definitely have some takeaways from this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mamta. Thank you, sir. We have Rajeshri who wants to ask you a question, sir. Rajeshri, you're enabled. You can start asking.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, sir. Starting your own venture could be really daunting and intimidating at first. So, through all that ups and downs, you said that you strongly held on to hope. But it is not very easy to find a silver lining on every dark clouds. So, what kept you going through all that phase?
Yeah, you're right. It is, there were times when I look back and I said, I think I have bitten off more than I can chew, right? I had my mentor talk to me at one time and said, you can't be doing everything on your own, Naren. You have to delegate, you have to bring in people, and you have to kind of figure out how to get things delegated and monitor and get things done from them. I said, no, I can do it myself. I know I can do it. I know. And he said, keep watching, you will not be able to scale. Right. Then, you push ahead and say, like a hero, you want to do everything. You want to be at the outlets, select the outlets, execute the outlets, look at the operations. Then you fail, right? You're not able to, you're not in control of things. Wastage is going crazy. Numbers are not coming, reaching on time. You're not delivering consumer delight. You fail, right? Yeah, you take a hit. Then you realize, okay, I think this is what I can do. Therefore, I need to bring other people to help me in the journey. So you're right. It is very hard to find a silver lining. Hold on to that hope. But as entrepreneurs who have signed up to doing something and achieving something, do we have any other choice? We don't have a choice, right? You have started the journey and you have to figure this out. And it is not a shame to reach out to people. It is not a shame to introspect and say, hey, this is what I can do. This is some areas I'm not good at. You have to take a hard look at yourself. I did. In my case, I did. I said, I'm very good in some areas and I'm not very good in certain other areas. So can I bring somebody in and accept him to take a responsibility to a certain extent, relinquish that control? And after about 4 months of kind of going nowhere, I introspected and I brought on a COO for the company. And I couldn't have made a better decision than that, right? So the silver lining there for me was to pause and take a hard look at yourself. And when I went back to my mentor, I said, man, I feel like a bit of a failure because I'm not able to do what I want to do anymore, right? Like, how can I take this 9 to 25 to 40 to 50? He said, it's not a failure, right? Even to bring somebody in, delegate, mentor, and get things executed with them takes skill. So that itself you have to look at as your achievement. So when you start realizing these things, you find hope. You find hope. And today where it is, it's just not me who did who put where Nandu's is. It's the team that came in, right? So when the COO came in, we went from 11 outlet business to a 25 outlet in the next year. And then the 50 outlets in the year after. So almost a 2 outlets a month is what we have done. So it's a team effort. So you take a hard look when there are those bleak moments, you take a hard look, you throw away your ego, you realize what you can and cannot do, succumb to the fact, and great things will happen.
Yes, so very well put. I have a follow-up question, if I may ask.
Go ahead.
You have mentioned about your mentor a lot. So how did you find your mentor?
That's a very that's a very difficult thing, right? It's a lot of hunting. Hunting as in be honest, be earnest in your expression and connection with people. You have to connect with people, right? A lot of people tell me, oh, I'm in a stealth mode. I cannot discuss this. I cannot discuss that. I don't necessarily believe in all of that, right? An idea, is dime a dozen. Everybody's got an idea. How do you take an idea, execute it, is critical. Execution muscle is very critical. Now, I don't have a problem talking about my ideas to 10 other people or 20 other people. When you talk about your idea to 20 people, 30 people, you will find people who align with the same philosophy. And in that journey, they become your mentors. You start bouncing off ideas. You talk to them. If your philosophy and your purpose and your intention is genuine, people will align. People will align with you and they want to be part of the journey. They want to help you. That's how it happens. So network as much as possible. Be genuine with people. People are generally very busy. I mean, I think the word busy is overused. They just don't have time for others, right? They have time for everything else, but they just don't have time for certain things. But be insistent, be consistent, be persistent, and you be a pest. So you talk to these people, you reach out to these people, you open yourself up, throw away your ego and say, I don't know how to do this. Can you teach me how to do this? Can you share in your own life how you went about handling this certain scenario? That's what happened in my case, right? I don't have many mentors. I have a few. And that happened in the journey. I reached out to them. I expressed my inability or in certain areas. They understood, they pitched in. So I have a financial mentor, like as in, when it comes to accounts and finance, like I'm a software guy. I don't know anything about P&L and all of that stuff. Over the years I've learned, but how did that learning happen? Because I reached out to this person and I spent a lot of time with him. He understood. Then on the business side of things, again the same thing. Reach out to people, talk to them, right? And
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I like those three words: insistent, consistent, and persistent. And in the end, you said pest. Don't leave them. Right?
You have to pester them. They must just give up and say, man, this person is calling me or messaging me consistently, so I should respond to them.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for that excellent advice. It was very
Lakshmi
straightforward.
Madam,
Yes.
I just want to know, sir, remaining innovative is very, very important. And in that connotation, I think you have been trying to find an alternate to the fish meat. I read that in your introduction.
Right.
Could you talk a little more about it, sir? Because I think it is important.
Yes,
Correct.
sir. I think there's a question also on that. So that was the next question.
Yeah.
In the chat box. So somebody asked if you have any plans in getting into different business lines, and what is, I think it aligns with sir's question. So
Okay, I'll answer both of those questions.
yes.
Right. One is being innovative, right? It is okay. Now let me step back a little bit, right? Are there plans to look at multiple businesses? Now, in my own experience, I suggest that you can't be everywhere and do everything. And it's not a good idea to keep on looking for businesses, right? Because one business needs your absolute focus. So in my case, in my own journey, I have only looked, from my early years, I went and did Nando's, then I did Flick Express, both failed because, there was no focus and all of that stuff. So what I understand is you stay put on one business idea and look at only complementary business areas, right? For me, insect protein was an absolute complementary business idea. So we are producing this chicken and retailing it through Nando's. Now, what is our one of the core principles in the company is to produce everything in a sustainable manner. So insect protein produces protein that is used for growing chicken in a very sustainable manner. So let me take a minute and I'll explain what the feed. The poultry feed is composed of corn and soya. Soya is a source of protein. And soya farming is growing globally. And to make land for soya farming, they are actually cutting down millions of hectares of forest. And it is a very intensive crop. It takes a lot of land, fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides, and water to produce soya. So I was always under, sustainability has been something that I have been thinking of. We did solar, that was sustainable, etc. So I ran into this concept of using insects to feed chicken, using insects as a source of protein. And about 6 years ago, I read an article somewhere and I said, man, this makes absolute sense, right? You're upscaling waste. You're taking your urban waste, feeding it to the larvae. The larvae become flies, they lay eggs, and the eggs become larvae. It's a total circular economy business. And there's no input required at all. If you collect garbage from 10 households, you can start actually growing, right? So it makes total sense. And and one thing I want to share in this journey, if you want something so bad, I'm a true believer that the universe will conspire to make it happen for you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I want to share with all of our audience here and the students and the budding entrepreneurs. You should want it as bad as you want, something amazing in your life, right? If you wanted a car with so much passion, you should want this business with 10 times that passion. So I was thinking about this insect farming business for about 5 years. I went to Amsterdam, spent a lot of time with this company called Protex. They are the world's largest insect protein company. Took me to their facility there. They didn't allow me to the critical areas. They said, I asked for a collaboration. They said, no, nothing at all. Then I said, man, these guys, this is not rocket science. If these guys think it's rocket science, they must be joking. India is a tropical country and there are plenty of insects in India. The same insect is available in the wild there. What are they talking about? What IP are they talking about? And I kept talking to people, a lot of people about, me wanting to do this and do that. See, again, going back to the point, you talk to a lot of people. Please network and talk to a lot of people. Don't be shy to share your ideas. Whether you do it or not is a different question, but the more you talk about it, the more the universe will conspire to make it happen for you. Okay, and it becomes second nature. It runs in your subconscious that you got to do something about it. And in 2018, I had a injury and I was at home for almost 3 months. I was bedridden for about 3 months, and that's the time I said I got to do something about this insect thing. This thing is bothering me quite a lot. So I called a couple of professors in University of Agricultural Science. I said, you guys have to do something. You stop being professors and start thinking like, business people, right? No more theory. You find me a guy who can do this for me, right? And with a cast, I went to office. I met one of the professors. I told him, we are going to run this like not a research project. I'm not writing a research paper. I need a real product out of it. And luckily, they introduced me to one other entomologist who had his own company. See what happens when you talk to people, right? They will understand your purpose and they'll connect you to other people. That is so critical. So they connected me to this entomologist. And luckily, he happened to be a guy who had just wound up his company. He had just shut his company and he was growing beneficial insects. So I shared all my research with him. I said, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Would you help me do this? And I was on bed at home every day and he would send me photos. I'm digging through garbage. I'm finding the larvae for the black soldier fly. I put up a now a growing system, a breeding system. That went on for about almost 6 months or so. And then the message that I was working on this reached somebody else. And that somebody was looking to do a similar kind of a business. So they came together and one of my co-founders came from that company, and she's a neurobiologist. She understands animal behavior, and she was like absolutely passionate. So talking to people connects you to other people who are passionate. So networking, talking to people, insisting that they give you ideas and evaluate your ideas, all critical. They all add up. Somehow they all add up. That's all I want to say.
So now, is it going fine, sir, that project? You have been able to substitute the fish meat with the larvae?
Yeah. See, the thing is, the black soldier fly is a naturally occurring fly. It is if you took your organic waste, even in my house, I got to tell you this story. There's a lady in my house who's been working with us. She's I think around 60 plus. We put a small growing system in my house. The growing system is simple. Daily dump. They have a urban pot, right? A composting pot. So we said our initial growing system was that to capture the larvae of the black soldier fly. So I put it in my house and I taught this lady how to kind of take the kitchen waste and put it in that. She's an absolute fan today, She collects wet waste from 4 of my neighbors and puts it in there, and she produces larva and gives it to me for the farm.
Okay.
So you can do it. So what we have done, we have kind of scaled beyond that now. We have a growing facility in Banshankari where it's a large facility, and again a lot of R&D. Taking an insect and going through the regular process takes time. Here we are trying to industrialize that, which means we have to provide mimic the best condition. So right now it is cloudy. but we have to have a breeding room that is bright and nice with a certain temperature. So we had to create a greenhouse to grow the flies, right? Once the flies grow, they lay eggs. We have to collect the eggs. Then the eggs, we in nature, the hatchability rate is hardly 50-60%. We have achieved 99% hatchability. Again, a lot of R&D, right? So I think this whole team and everybody came together about 7-8 months ago. And in 7-8 months, it's a journey. It's a beautiful startup journey. Like we have absolutely enjoyed it. And we have cracked many problems. So today we are producing between 2 to 3 million eggs a day. Okay. Then within 3 days they hatch and they become larvae. And we are tied up with local vegetable vendors in and around that area, supermarkets. They give us the waste. We pay them some money and they give us the waste. We have found out the best combination to help the larvae grow the fastest. So the funny thing is, the quantity of protein that I can produce from 1 hectare of insect farming is equivalent to 64 hectares of soya plantation.
Oh my goodness.
And 99% less water. And these and the benefits of this, you can get rid of all of your organic wet waste. So we are using things like chicken. All the expired chicken from Nandu's goes there. Sustainability. All the rotting vegetables from your supermarkets and the leftovers in your local darshinis. Yeah. Sustainability, right? And then
cleaning the city also.
And then we are using spent coffee. We are using dosa batter. You name it. These things will eat it, right? It's such a beautiful insect.
Yeah.
They are nature vacuum cleaners, right?
Yeah.
And we just had to pay attention. I answer your question or hello?
There is some audio problem, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How about now?
Yes,
I
sir.
hope Dr. Bang, I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, I understood. That is where I found a lot of innovation. Keep remaining innovative is very, very important for an entrepreneur. That I personally believe, and I could trace that back to you, sir. That is the reason I asked. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And
See, there is a very fine balance. Just a thought there. See, there's a very fine balance. So you have to remain innovative while remaining focused. So, you have to find the right people. So the insect farming company, my co-founder, I mentor her and she runs it. I'm there, I give it some amount of time, but then you have to stay focused on things at hand. Focus is super important. You can't keep jumping here, there, everywhere, right? And it's a complementary business. We had a huge problem of disposing the expired product. Now that goes back to the insect farm. And the insect produce from the insect farm goes back into production of chicken. So it's all kind of interlinked, right? Like,
I think, sir, it very well adds to a story that wife of Warren Buffett once invited Warren Buffett himself and the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates. And she asked one question to each one of them and saying in a chat, write one word that will, you can say very well that this has contributed to my success, to what I am today.
Yeah.
And imagine, sir, what those three might have written, the same word that you said now. Focus, laser focus.
Yeah.
All the three wrote exactly the same word. Laser focus, laser focus, laser focus in what you're doing.
There's no substitute. See, I wish to say this to all the budding young entrepreneurs. I think you're in the precipice of your careers. You're starting something new. You're starting your life. Whatever you do, I think it's important to stay laser focused on it. Whether it succeeds or not is a different thing. Stay laser focused. Even if it fails after 2 years, you have valuable lessons to take away from that.
Very true.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. Thank you. Director sir, and Rajeshri for asking the questions. There are a few questions in the chat box. I think majority of the questions have been answered by one way or the other. There's Mr. Kevin Nisar, who has been with us for all our sessions from quite some time, and he's attended this session as well. Welcome back, Kevin. So he also has a question. He always wants to be a writer and become an entrepreneur in writing, an author. So he had this question of how should I turn my passion into becoming an entrepreneur. I think you have answered that through other questions. But he has another question which says that how do you establish your brand? So I think you could throw some light on that for him.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll take both of his questions, right? Like, how, am I a writer? How do I turn my passion for writing into something meaningful? So, Kevin, one of the most important things for brands is they don't know how to communicate. Okay, we are always on the lookout for copywriters, somebody who can create real content that is so meaningful and it should come from the heart. Okay. That is one area where you can contribute. Maybe you can take up copywriting. You understand the product, brand, or service, and use your writing skills to articulate that. A lot of entrepreneurs, maybe tech or whoever it is, they have all the ideas in the mind. They don't know how to communicate. So maybe you can offer your services there and say, hey, I can do copywriting for you. Okay. And what was the second question, ma'am?
How to establish a brand.
Yeah. So how to establish a brand? When you say brand, are you referring to you? As in, how do I establish myself as a brand?
Yeah, I think that was what he's trying to ask.
Yeah. So his question is how to establish oneself as a brand?
Yeah.
Like personal branding, some related to that.
Sure. So see, again, it's a journey, right? So if you actually look at social media influencers, what are they trying to do today? They're trying to build a personal brand, right? So it's about being out there, talking to people, putting out good content. And even for me, talking to you people today is I'm establishing my personal brand. So at any point in time where you're interacting with others, sharing your knowledge, sharing your service or sharing your abilities to help them is all about building your personal brand, right? So get on the social media, platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it is. If you're very much in the beginning of your career, you collaborate with people, you assist them. Sometimes, even if it means no monetary benefit, you build that. It's an investment you have to make, right? And then things will happen.
And even creating your own website, writing blogs frequently, all right, and reaching out to people through various social media. I think that those are the good tools to, create brand of yourself.
Correct. And if you are researching certain products or so companies or brands, you understand that business, reach out to them and say, hey, you're doing this today. How can I help you do this? I see, how can I solve any of the problems that you have? Can I create some content for you? Can I write some blogs for you? Can I curate some recipes for you? Something of that sort. But even if it means that there's no money in it, that's an investment you're making, right? See, the first few years of your starting out your careers, forget money. Okay. I mean, most of us, Dr. Bung can also allude to that. We have been through the grind, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me?
You're audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, so what I want to share with the young entrepreneurs is don't be ready for the grind. That's what I mean to say, the grind. You get underpaid, overused for the first couple of years. And there's no alternate
way out.
There's no way out to that. Right? I remember my first job, I worked like crazy hours, got underpaid, underappreciated. But now when I look back, it taught me great skills. So please don't focus on financial outcomes alone in the first few years of your life. That's a humble request from my side. Just stay focused on learning.
Money will follow.
Exactly.
Very true, sir. Very rightly said.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll take the last question here in the chat box.
Otherwise, it will go on till night.
Yes, sir.
Ah.
So this is from
So it is
Mohammed.
so nice. Right, it will go on till evening. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I think most of the questions here in chat box have been answered. So the last question from Mohammed Zishan Nathni. Actually, he has 3 questions, but I think the most important and relevant question here is, according to you, which is the best quality a successful entrepreneur must possess? So he wants to know that from you, sir.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's a tough one to answer. There is no best quality. An entrepreneur is required to don many roles, wear many caps, and have many abilities. Now, starting out, would you have all of that? I don't think. Okay, nobody has any of that. If somebody said, this guy is a visionary and he knew exactly what you're doing, I don't really believe that, right? You have an idea, you pursue that idea. And while pursuing that idea, you learn certain qualities to achieve that idea, right? What has helped me personally is an ability, empathy is very important, right? While you have targets to achieve, goals to meet, it cannot be done in a very ruthless manner, okay? You have to be empathetic to your customer. You have to be empathetic to your team and to your vendors. It is super critical. That empathy is, I think, in my opinion, the greatest skill that an entrepreneur should have. Apart from everything else like patience, perseverance, these are all standard. You'll learn that. It doesn't come to you. You are not born with it. Life teaches you all of this.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think, sir, like with your example, learning to live with the failures is also very important, because success doesn't come just like that. Right?
Correct.
You have to literally get yourself grounded, and then the nectar will come out.
No, absolutely. I am so proud I failed twice. Right. At that time, I had friends and the social circle which looked at me and said, "What video DVDs this guy is doing? Is he nuts? Who is going to pay for it?" Right. And then there was another set of people who said, "One chicken biryani a packet is never going to sell." But they were all right. But I walked away with some phenomenal learnings from that. That's what helped me today, right? Today, when I sit down to talk to agencies or copywriters or creative people or marketing people, I know exactly how to converse with them, how to evaluate the proposals, right? An advertising agency comes in and does a pitch. How does the pitch go? How do you evaluate that pitch? How do you look at brand architecture? I'm a software engineer. I don't know these things, right? But these experiences where I failed are what actually exposed me to all that. I never went to school. I'm not an MBA. I'm a coder.
Very interesting.
But, it's been phenomenal. Any questions? See, my intention was to actually keep my story small and be able to answer a lot of our entrepreneurs and youngsters their questions. I hope.
So you have been successful at that, sir, and we assure you that. So I think with that, I would like to play a short video which was created by one of our students in collaboration with the sir's marketing team. So I would like to just
before we get into that, can I make a small?
Sure, sir. Sure. Yes, sir. You can go ahead. Yes.
So at Nandu's, we are a growing company, and we are looking to work with young talent. It's not easy. We work long hours, but it's exceptional learning if you were to commit to it. Okay. So we are looking for developers. We're looking for ATL and BTL marketeers to be part of our marketing team. We have a whole bunch of roles that are open, and I love to work with entrepreneurs. If we don't have a role, we will create a role for you, right?
That's
So
a really good offer, sir, for the
yeah,
student.
yeah. So I just want to put it out there because the kind of enthusiasm that budding the the newer set of the youngsters can bring is just contagious.
Very true.
It's just absolutely contagious. And yeah, I've worked with one BBM student when I did Flick Express, and that chap, I'd actually rejected him because he couldn't speak English properly, right? And then he was so persistent. He came back again and again, and his BBM coordinator, like, sir, he just wants to absolutely work with you. I said, fine. And we paid him a small amount. But then the kind of learning he took away from that, and then he went on to join one of the, I think Unilever, some company. He was the only one who was hired by Unilever at that point in time. And there was economic recession, 2008, when everything went down. He got hired, and he took English classes, worked with us, and picked up all of the skills. Because in a startup you learn a lot, right? You learn a lot. It is unstructured, but it's amazing learning. So we would, from that experience, I love to work with youngsters and highly motivated individuals. If there is any, we'll put out our email address, and I can share with ma'am also how you guys want to connect and contact and work with us. Work from home, but we'll give you plenty of work.
That's a great offer, sir.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your offer. And I think with that, I will go ahead and play a promo, and I'll request Supreet after that to just give a conclusion. And yeah, so I'll just play the promo on the video that has been, this video is made by Mr. Harsha, one of our students, and I think he's done it with collaboration with Sir's marketing team, Shweta ma'am, and it's come out really well, so we would like to share it. Yeah, I think that was a promo.
Very
And
nice. Very nice.
thank you, sir. And now I would request Supreet to do the
Yes,
conclusion as a moderator.
sure. Thank you, ma'am.
And
So
closing
this,
remarks, if sir wants to say something.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
sure, sure.
Have you?
No, I just want to thank Dr. Bang and Rashmi ma'am and Supreet. It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
I wish we could have all met in person,
Yes.
because I think it's just connecting with people is absolutely energizing for me personally.
Very true. Very true.
Although I have spoken to unseen faces today,
Yes.
it's so wonderful to connect and answer these questions. I hope it has in some way added value to your life. Thank you to RVIM and everybody who has collaborated and made this event possible.
Thank you, sir.
Like I said, we are here. If there's any other questions you have, I'll share my my email address is naren@nandus.com. That is
Yes.
NAREN@nandus.com. Feel free to shoot me, bother me, be a pest. I will definitely respond.
I like that, sir. Be a best.
So, it is, I should say, it is very energizing. I've always enjoyed working with youngsters, and, there's something I learned too. So, it's in my selfish sense that I'm saying. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. So there are few things that I really liked about this session, like your passion for your team, the patience that you told, like be patient in the initial years, and your perseverance. I would like to frame it as a 3 Ps. So that is like a key takeaways for many of us here. So thank you very much for being part of hashtag I have a story, and thank you very much for sharing your learnings and your journey. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Supreet,
you, Supreet.
for joining us.
Wonderful event. Thank you.
And thank you, Rashmi madam.
Thank you,
Wonderfully organized. And thank you,
we
team.
have one last video so
Sure.
that we end on a very, I think it was a very energizing session, and so that the energy does not fade away. So we would like to end with the very energizing video again from Ricky Cage. And thank you, sir. Thank you, Naren sir, for making time for us. I know you would be very busy, but then it's very humble and it's very down to earth of you to accept our request and make time for this session, sir. It's a great session and you were amazing. Thank you, Supreet, for accepting our request and also showing enthusiasm for usually students, once they are out of the college, it's very difficult to get them back, but we are really grateful to Supreet for coming back here and moderating the session. Thank you,
you, ma'am.
Director Sir, for being the backbone for everything that incubation is taking up, and thank you, sir, for suggesting this session to us and guiding throughout. Thank you all the participants for having attended this session. We had a very good overwhelming response and we're happy, and we would expect you to expect the same response for our future sessions as well. And
You can mention, Rashmi madam,
yes,
our
sir.
social media
Yes, sir.
links.
Yes,
so
sir.
they can stay tuned to
Sure,
those.
sir. Yeah, so I will, as you're watching the video, I will put down the social media links, and I have already shared the Naren sir's email ID in the chat box as well as Incubation Center. So you can approach us, you can mail to us in both of these email IDs, and I'll also put the links for our social media, that is Facebook and our YouTube channel. And I think with that, I'll go ahead and play the ending video, closing video. And please keep watching the chat box for the links and other remarks. Thank you so much.
So I insist, I request all the audience to watch the Ricky Cage videos. Amazing videos from Bengaluru, from Karnataka, Grammy Award winner. Very humble, down to earth, and fantastic kind of creations. And it is one of his creations. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'll just put it off. I'm sharing it, sir. Yeah.
We are all in this together. We are all in this together. And nothing can remind us like a simple act of kindness. And in the blackest of night, just one flash of light shows we're not alone. No, not today. This is time. Let's do this. It's our time. Let's do this. It is time to shine a light. Let's do this. It is time to shine your light. Whoa, 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 whoa. It is time to shine your light. मैं जो साथ निभाऊं, तू जो साथ निभाए, तो बात बन जाए, तो ये रात ढल जाए. मैं जो साथ निभाऊं, तू जो साथ निभाए, तो बात बन जाए, तो ये रात ढल जाए. चलो हाथ बढ़ाए, चलो सबको दिखाए, कोई भी यहाँ अकेला ना है. This is time. Let's do this. It's our time. Let's do this. It is time to shine a light. Let's do this. It is time to shine a light. Come on. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's time. Let's do this. It's our time. Let's do this. It's time to shine a light. It's time. Let's do this. It's our time. Let's do this. It's time to shine a light. It is time to shine a light. Shine your light. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, on that note, I would like to say keep shining and keep glowing. And with that, I would like to sign off from the session. Thank you everyone once again and have a great evening and weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Naren sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Rashmi madam. Wonderfully
you.
organized. And thank you, Supreet. And thanks to all the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thank you,
I
sir.
look forward to having you in person, sir, very soon.
Done.
Sir.
Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you so much.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, yes.